Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining us here for the Alpharetta City Council meeting and public hearing for October 20th, 2025. I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order and note for the record that all members of council are present and accounted for, except Councilman Brady, who will not be joining us this evening. As always, we begin our meetings with a Pledge of Allegiance, so if you're willing and able, please stand and join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item up on our agenda this evening is the work session items, and the first work session item is for City Council review and discussion. There's not going to be a vote on this item, and that is for the Alpha Loop Foundation update. Director Rogers, I believe you're going to have this item.
And Morgan, if you wouldn't mind to turn that microphone on right there. Nothing like a good Monday reminder.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Council. As always, it's a pleasure to be with you tonight. I think we're ready to go now. It is my pleasure tonight to give you an update on the Alpha Loop Foundation. This is the group that is helping us build a more connected and vibrant Alpharetta by enhancing the Alpha Loop. So we're just going to run through the presentation. It was in your packet, but I'm going to run through it real quickly, and then we've got folks from the foundation that'll answer any questions you may have. That'll probably be either John Goss or Karen Richard that will answer any questions that you may have. We have some other members with the foundations if there are questions. A quick overview tonight. We're going to be talking about the foundation, the spotlight on some of the things they've done, the progress that they're making, the action plans for 2005, and then, of course, how to stay in the loop. I will call out, there's a couple things on this particular slide that are exciting to me. The sign that says Pet Spa, Bike Storage, and Alpha Loop is actually inside the parking deck at Lakeview. So its residents, it's so important to them, they actually put that on the sign there. And immediately below that in the middle is the most iconic piece of artwork on the Alpha Loop. It's the big A Alpha Loop with the infinite symbol in the middle. It is, I think, maybe 20 feet tall. It is huge, and it is absolutely gorgeous and overlooks the lake. So if you hadn't had a chance to go look at that, I'd highly encourage you to do that. The Alpha Loop Foundation, its mission is simple. It is to promote, enhance, and expand the Alpha Loop. They have core areas of awareness, fundraising, public art, education, trail expansion and maintenance, and advocacy for commercial and residential development. Right now, we have 6.7 miles that have actually been completed with the Alpha Loop. Somebody should say, yeah, that's a lot. That is a lot. We have another 4.7 that are in various stages of design or under construction. The Alpha Loop Foundation was formed 4 years ago as a 501c3. It partnered with the city of Alpharetta using an MOU, and in that MOU, I want to call out that it called for the city to match dollar for dollar what the foundation raised up to $2 million, but we really haven't been following anything in that MOU, and that's part of why I'm here tonight, is to kind of update you on what is happening with the foundation and to let you know that in the next month or so, we're going to be bringing a new revised MOU that is actually going to be how we will work with the foundation moving forward. The goals are community, pretty good goals of community awareness and fundraising, and their key objectives are marketing, operations, fundraising, and expand the Alpha Loopers network of volunteers. The spotlight is they want to increase accessibility to the loop. That is through things like seating, maybe a couple of dog areas in the future, wayfinding signage, access points, and you should see that probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks, some wayfinding signage going up that's going to direct people to the loop. And they also solved the parking solution at North Winds. You know, we built that section from Old Milton all the way to North Winds, and there was nowhere for you to park to get to that Alpha Loop. They talked with the people at North Winds and have actually put some parking in the North Winds development, and you can see in that bottom right-hand corner where they installed those parking signs, and they were pretty excited about that. And to date, they have 3 bridge murals that they planned that had painted along the Alpha Loop. 2 of them are in place, and 1 of them is actually in process right now. There's been some other wins. The volunteer and the donor growth has been really good for the foundation, the public art installations, and a lot of community events like Sip and Stroll and Lights on the Loop that we're going to talk about here in just a minute. The progress in 20 and 25, the foundation has now raised a total of $209,000. In-kind donations total $65,000. They've done 7 farmers markets where they're just giving out information about the loop, the maps, and answering questions. They've done 2 sip and strolls, did the North Atlanta Fit for Life Expo on the green, as well as the Recreation and Parks Health and Wellness Day. And then they have Lights on the Loop coming where they're going to activate 3 weekends. And this is kind of going to be a fun, it's going to be a fun holiday season this year. We're going to celebrate a 1-mile spectacular Lights on the Loop. It's going to feature a winter village. It'll be 3 active weekends where they have themed weekends. The first one, the 5th through the 6th, will be a winter health and wellness theme. The second weekend, the 12th through the 13th, will be holiday music showcase, and that's in keeping with the Alpharetta Music City theme. And then December the 19th and 20th will be a pet-friendly weekend. I mean, there's more information. You can scan that there, or you can also get involved by helping spread the word, come up with ideas for donation, sponsorship ideas for the Loop, support their community events that they do, and share opportunities for the volunteers. And if you want to stay in the Loop, you can go on the website. They have the website. You can go with Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, or sign up for their e-newsletter. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have about what they are. This is, like I said, I'll give you the opportunity if in the next couple of weeks, if you have any comments about what you think ought to be in the MOU, I'll be glad to have those as we are talking with the foundation now to make sure that we have a MOU that works well for the city as well as the foundation. But they've been busy. We're really excited about the signage that's going to go up here in we've already seen that signage. It's going to have a kiosk in Brook Street that's going to lay out the loop, and we were just really excited about it, the foundation helping us get the word out about the loop. Again, I'll be glad to answer any questions, or would love to turn it over more to them if you have any questions. And I will also tell you that Bill Fry with Illuminating Designs, who's designed the lights on the loop, is here tonight, too, to answer any questions you may have about the lights along the loop.
Thanks, sir. Do we have any questions? Councilman Dorito?
Not a question. I'm assuming that's the foundation board members sitting behind you there. And I just wanted to thank you for all your hard efforts. This is amazing, the progress of the foundation since you've been in existence for about 4 years, and the donors that you've had, and Lights on the Loop. I mean, just some of the wins that you've had is really wins for Alpharetta, and I really appreciate the volunteerism and everyone. I'm sure there's a lot more people behind you that deserve credit as well. So I wanted to just say thank you. I don't really have any questions. I'm just kind of in awe as to the progress of the foundation and what you've done to enhance our Alpha Loop, and it'll continue to be enhanced with people like yourself volunteering and really helping our city grow and be a great place to live. So thank you so much.
Any questions or comments? Is there anyone from the foundation that had anything they want to add? Awesome. Thank you. We appreciate your efforts on behalf of our city.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Director Rogers. So that'll wrap up the work session items for this evening, and we'll move on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda consists of the items A, B, and C. A being City Council meeting minutes from the meeting of October 5th, 2025, the consent order and final judgment for Cumming Street Project, Parcel 2, and the financial management report for the month ending August 31st, 2025. Is there anyone who would like to remove anything from the consent agenda? Ms. Shapiro.
We have no public comment cards for this item, sir.
However, if there's anyone that would like to comment on the consent agenda, now is your chance to voice your opinions. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council on the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Mitchell, second by Mayor Pro Tem Merkel to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor, please vote yes. And it is unanimous. So that'll wrap up the consent agenda. We'll move on to new business. First item under new business is the memorandum of understanding with the Lakeview Alpha Loop. What a coincidence. Director Sisevich, you have the floor.
Morgan and I work together closely on things. Good evening, Mayor and Council. For you tonight is a request from Public Works to get an MOU, memorandum of agreement with the North Fulton CID, True North 400, and allocate $300,000 out of the Alpha Loop bond account to go towards the extension of the Alpha Loop along Lakeview Parkway. And specifically what's going on is this was a quick win project that the CID was working towards, and their original project was a lot less intrusive in the area. And they had this pork chop here, and the Alpha Loop wasn't originally going behind the Colonial Pipeline Company originally when they started this project a year and a half ago. So, but it is now, it's there, so we worked with them to change it. That was the number that we were given when we were going through the unit price breakdown of the pricing that the contractors received. So removing the pork chop, adding a 12-foot wide sidewalk, and modifying the 8-foot wide sidewalk on the other side, increase the project costs. So CID has a vendor ready to start very, very soon. They're under contract already, and we're requesting $300,000 out of the Alpha Loop bond account to go towards this project.
Councilman Heights?
Director Pete, for this project and future Alpha Loop projects, crosswalks in general, when there's a center median, what's the feasibility of having a refuge area in the center median as a place of safety for folks who are crossing? And I don't know if it's doable on this one, but if you could address it both for this particular project and whether or not that can be incorporated in the future.
We could probably incorporate it in the future. Right now, the way their unit price contract's set up, it doesn't really account for it to do such. But the biggest challenge with, we call them refuge areas in the center medians, is truck turning radii, making sure that the trucks can make the proper turn so they don't run over and the median either left in or left out. But we could definitely look at in the future areas that could add a refuge.
Yeah, and my point of emphasis would be crosswalks in general. It's well documented in my time sitting up here. I cross Old Milton towards where my office is on the southeast corner of Highway 9 in Old Milton. And it's nice if you're not all the way across to have an area where you can stand and be safe, much like we've incorporated in some of the Hawklight areas. Specifically, though, if we're going to have these at any other places with the Alpha Loop, in the post office area comes to mind. You know, we're asking our residents to bring their dogs, their bikes, their kids to walk the Alpha Loop, and when they're going across the street, anything that we can do to enhance their safety with a little refuge area, if feasible, I would certainly be supportive of.
Will do. And that's one reason we got rid of the little pork chop island. It slows people's speeds down as well. So, and we'll have to look at the Old Milton Parkway, Kingery Lane intersection. It was already approved by GDOT to see if there is a refuge in that one or not.
Councilwoman Mitchell?
And I'd like to add that to that, especially on, like Old Milton, where it's so wide and you have to transcript or walk across the entire path of that. Those lights that light up, especially at night, since the Alpha Loop is open at night, and in the early evenings, it helps to see that across to remind you, like we put in other places, like on Old Canton and things like that. I think that would be ideal, and especially on Haynes Bridge and things like that. And I had a question. The green area, is that landscaping, and is it included in the budget as
It is not
presented?
included in the budget, but we
Okay.
have funds earmarked for it. We're waiting to see utilities in that area. We have found out the fiber lines tend to be all over the place.
Yeah.
So before we anticipate, show exactly what's going to be there, we wait to see what we dig out. So, but there is landscaping will be included.
Where the green is
Correct.
noted.
Either
Okay.
grass on the sides, like that's like a 2-foot beauty strip, there'll probably be more grass. In the middle median, there'll probably be shrubs of some sort.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards on this item?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
However, if anyone would like to come forward, now is your chance to speak up. I see no one coming forward, so we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council on this item?
I thought it was a public works item. I'll be happy.
I know you're very involved with these things.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that council approve the memorandum of understanding with True North 400 for the construction and construction management of the Alpha Loop along Lakeview Parkway for an amount not to exceed $300,000 and authorize the mayor to execute all necessary documents.
Second?
We have a motion by Councilman Hipes, a second by Councilman Dorito. Any discussion? Councilman Hipes.
I didn't take advantage of the previous topic, but since the Alpha Loop Foundation, and I know John and Karen have put in a tremendous amount of time on this, and I can see and sense the momentum of what they're doing. While we have a chance to comment on an Alpha Loop item, I'd just like to add my 2 cents worth. It's the most transformative thing in Alpharetta. We were out walking the outer loop and inner loop on Saturday, and just seeing other people and residents taking advantage of the Alpha Loop and seeing people out walking around Alpharetta, and you can just go back as recently as 10 years ago, and those would have been unicorns out walking around, and now it's sometimes heavily trafficked on the Alpha Loop. But thank you. Appreciate what y'all are doing.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve, please vote yes. Otherwise, vote accordingly. And it does pass unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. We appreciate you bringing that forward. So the next item up is also for Director Sisevich, and that's the invitation to bid 26-005 fiscal year 2026 sidewalk and ADA ramp repair.
Yes, Mayor and Council, as part of the FY26 capital budget, funds are allocated out of T-Splosh to repair sidewalk throughout the city and handicap ramps. We're looking at accomplishing sidewalk, repairing over 3,700 linear feet of sidewalk and 100 handicap ramps along North Point Parkway from Haynes Bridge Road all the way up to Windward. We received 7 bids, and the low bid was NESW Incorporated at $491,308. Staff has met with this firm. They've done work in Johns Creek as well, and I've talked to the Director of Public Works in Johns Creek, and they recommend this firm as well for this type of project. And we're looking at 180 days to complete the work.
Do we have any questions for Director Sisevich? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
However, if anyone would like to come forward and speak on this item, now's your chance. Don't see anybody coming forward, so we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council?
Yes, Mayor, move to approve the award of a contract and purchase approval for invitation to bid 26-005 to NSEW Inc. for sidewalk and ADA ramp repair and replacement amount not to exceed $491,308 and authorize the mayor to execute all necessary documents.
Have a motion by Councilman Dorito. Do we have a second? Second. Second by Councilman Hypes. Any discussion? Well, Pete, I'll just say that I appreciate this effort because while we've been building lots of new Alpha Loop facilities and paths and things like this, we haven't maintained some of the older ones as well as we could have, and I'm glad to see we're actually making an effort to get some of that taken care of.
Dennis Rowland and his team has done a lot of work with us, so.
I can tell there was a lot of work to be done. So thank you. All those in favor of the motion to approve, please vote yes, otherwise vote accordingly. And it passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Pete, you're a busy man.
Yeah, we're-
Next item is also Public Works Fleet Replacement, ITB 26-007 and 008.
Mayor and Council, as part of the FY26 capital budget, these are fleet replacements, replacing an 18-year-old truck as well as a 16-year-old truck for the crews to use. And we will be rotating our, rotating our vehicles around. In other words, when new ones come in, we put them where the higher miles use have been going on, so we don't keep spending more and more time with our miles. So this will go to a crew that does a lot more driving around the city. These vehicles here. There is two bid numbers, and that's for clarification. We had to separately bid out the two separate vehicles. They're two different types of trucks. Therefore, we want to make sure we got the right pricing. So we did go out to bid, as I said. The low bid was the Hardy Family Ford at a total amount of $124,154. Wish we had more bidders, but two works. And we did compare it to state contract as well, and it was competitive. It was
Okay.
actually lower than state contract at that time.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Director Sisevich? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
However, if you'd like to come forward and speak about these trucks, now's your chance. I don't see anyone come forward, so we'll close public comment. Do I have a motion from council on this item?
Yes, Mayor, I move to approve the purchase of a Ford F-150 four-wheel drive XLT V8 truck and F-250 service bed truck from Family Ford, Inc., doing business Hardy Family Ford in the amount of $124,154, associated with the invitation to bid number 26-007 and 26-008, and authorize the mayor to execute all necessary documents.
I have a motion by Councilman Dorito and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Merkel. Any discussion?
Yes.
Councilman Dorito.
I just want to highlight that you're replacing a truck that's 16 years old and a truck that's 18 years old, 84,000 miles and 97,000 miles. These truck takes a beating, and your department does a really good job in maintaining our equipment, and so this is a great investment of our tax dollars because you maintain these vehicles very well, and just by representative of the two vehicles that are coming offline once we receive these, you should be applauded for that. So
Thank you. And Chris McDowell has been doing a wonderful job with Josh as well, making sure that maintenance is kept up, they're clean, they keep up with it. It's just not run to the ground. I mean, they're at their end right now.
thank you, Pete.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions for Director Savage?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Shapiro?
We have no public comment cards.
However, if anyone would like to comment, now's your chance. Don't see anybody coming forward, so we'll close public comment on that item. Do I have a motion from council? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. All those in favor, please vote yes.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you, Pete. It is unanimous. So we'll move on to the final item. This is one we've been waiting for quite some time. We've had issues with the downtown dumpsters for as long as I can remember, and I'm very appreciative of Mr. Lagerbloom and our staff pulling together something that I think should resolve this for the future. Ms. Eswine, if you'll begin by reading the resolution.
A resolution by the mayor and council of the city of Alpharetta, Georgia, designating certain city property to accommodate placement of commercial business solid waste receptacles, establishing minimum terms and conditions associated with such use, authorizing the city administrator to manage the program, establishing an annual permit fee, and for other purposes.
Thank you, ma'am. And we'll turn it over to Mr. Lagerberg.
Sure. Mayor and council, just a quick presentation tonight. The mayor's right. This one should have taken a month. It took like 4 or 5, but we got there. So this is in regards to the dumpsters that currently are behind the businesses. We call it the Roswell Street parking lot. There's 9 of them in there. It's behind the businesses south of Milton Avenue, and I guess that would be west of Georgia Highway 9. There's 9 there now, and for whatever reason, over the past years and years and years, we've lumped those containers into the RFP that we've done for solid waste and recycling collection service citywide. So the same vendor that we use for residential pickup is the same vendor that's been servicing those dumpsters. And over time, we had figured out how to break up the cost and distribute it amongst the users, the businesses over there, so that they could pay for that bill. To give you an idea, the 9 dumpsters equate to about $10,500 a month in collection fees. We finally hit a tipping point where the ratio of number of businesses to number of receptacles got out of whack, and the price just got exorbitant and highlighted the issue that we didn't really have a permit program in place. This is the culmination of doing that work and bringing a permit process forward to you all. You all create permits and you all set fees and have the ability to allow our land to be used for this purpose. So if you approve this permitting process, what will happen is a business will come in and make an application for one of those permits. It's an annual permit as it's proposed. We would issue those annual permits to 9 businesses, up to 9 businesses. We picked a number. There's no science behind the number. The city attorney's office and I sat and debated what was a good number to bring forward for an annual permit. We wanted it to be enough that people felt as though they had skin in the game, but not so much that it outpaced the cost of the collection itself, which now the businesses are going to be paying for as opposed to it being paid for by the city with some formula of getting reimbursed. And we propose tonight that annual be set at $50 a month or $600 for an annual permit, one-time annual permit. All the clauses are in this permit that allow us to take self-help if all of a sudden if there's cleanliness issues or there's trash that's sitting around the dumpsters because it's easier to sit next to it than it is to put in it. This permit process gives us remedies to make sure we stay on top of all that. Public Works Director is working now with Republic Services. One of the things that the businesses would like over there is to be able to enclose those again so they're not just seen from the parking lot. And there is a process by which a hauler can open them up and collect the trash and then close them back up again. Initial feedback from Republic is that they don't believe that they are able to do that, so we may just be looking at other vendors for that area if enclosing them is the direction we want to go. But tonight what I'm here before you for is to say, okay, I think we have a good permit process in place. We've worked with the city attorney's office to articulate it well, to put the right document together, the right permit together. It lays out the foundation for the program. We'll seek applications. I'd like to confirm that you're okay with us starting at the $600 annual permit fee. That can certainly change. By way of not talking too much, but to give you enough background, I did run that number by the working group I had established of the downtown businesses as we were putting this together. And they had no hesitation and wanted to know why they couldn't sign up last week. So I don't think there will be any hesitation with that. I don't think we're doing anything negative to our downtown businesses by having the public get some benefit for the using of the public's space. But that's what tonight does. If you approve this, we'll start issuing permits. We'll get ourselves off the hook for paying the bill, and we'll work with the businesses to make sure they have a good place to dispose of their waste now and going into the future. And there'll be some formality to it. So that's the presentation I have. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Councilman Hipes.
Well, thank you, Mr. Lagerbloom and Ms. Eswine. For those of us who are downtown, it's been a sore spot for a long time. Question, can more than one business go in on a permit for a dumpster?
Yes, the permit's not assignable, but like, I'm going to pick businesses that are, that are over there because we all know them well. So I'm not singling these businesses out, but let's say we work with Truck and Tap and end up with it, they become a permit holder. Our guidance and feedback to businesses that are today small users, like normal can size users, like Sis and Moon, Clothes Horse, some of the smaller users, is going to be to talk with your neighbors and colleagues first before you decide that Sis and Moon certainly doesn't need a whole dumpster. So the way this has worked in other communities is the larger users, the restaurants have been the ones that have gotten the permit, and then they've worked with the smaller retailers to make sure that everybody's accounted for.
So by analogy, the permit holder is the contractor, and they can have subcontractors under them, but the city is not licensing to a sub-permit holder.
That's correct.
And the reason I ask is I want to know, based on the structure, who we hold accountable. So if there's a sub-permit holder and they're putting fresh produce or trash or whatever out in front, we would go to the permit holder, and whatever our remedies are, they just have to work it out with their sub-permit holder.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
We presumably will have up to 9 individual people on the hook, although I've had even interest from some who've inquired about multiple spaces. So,
Who is going to be responsible for policing? If somebody doesn't have a permit and they're poaching, so to speak, will it be the permit holder who goes through the trash and says, aha, I see a receipt from such and such a business, they're poaching on my permitted dumpster, or will the city be involved in any of that? How is that
no,
going
the
to
city would be
handled?
involved in enforcement. It would be squarely in code enforcement's realm. I don't see any of our other enforcers doing it, but yes, the city could enforce, the city could revoke the permit at any point in time, and even the permit allows for the city to exercise self-help and go do it ourselves and bill that back to the permit holder, if in fact we have to do it.
Now, this will be trash dumpsters. I don't know that we've ever done anything for recycling per se for the west side of Highway 9 businesses, but is there anything related to or concerning recycling in this MOU?
Yeah, we're mindful that they still need to have a recycling option over there, and I believe that that's possible within the existing confines of the dumpster dumpster enclosure, because our ordinance requires some version of recycling. Here's where we've run into a problem: is with the current solid waste cans that we have over there, we have some solid waste and some recycling, but with there being no control over who's using them, in 9 out of 10, maybe 99 out of 100 cases where we would get an invoice from Republic Services, we'd get a contamination fee for solid waste being thrown into the recycle bin. So they have cameras on their trucks, they see it when it tips, and all they have to see is one piece of solid waste in a recycling bin and you get a contamination fee. So yes, there does need to be a recycling option over there. We'll control it with the different size openings on the cans, so that it's very difficult to put trash itself into a recycling bin.
Will that be under the old system where we're subsidizing, for lack of a better term, or will each of these permit holders have their own recycling responsibilities? And if they put trash that doesn't belong in recycling, they're the ones who get tagged?
Right. You know, we've got an ordinance that requires a certain percentage of recycling, and ultimately that will be the business owner's responsibility to adhere to it how they choose to, whether that is to recycle in a different way to meet compliance, whether that is to actually pay for recycling pickup from the waste hauler that they use, whether that's to all come together and decide that 9 cans for solid waste are enough and that there can be one that's dedicated for the whole block to recycling. I think there's multiple ways to skin that. Ultimately, we didn't prescribe for how it's done, but we do have an ordinance in place that requires it. So as we work with them on permits, we'll make sure that they're mindful of the recycle requirement.
And the plan overall, how is it being received by the businesses?
To the ones that have been at the table, which is a good bulk of that block, very, very well. It took a little bit longer than anybody had hoped for, but I think what we will do, and now I'm happy to use their names because everybody knows it over there, is Truck and Tap has stepped forward and said they want to be the first test case to work out any of the kinks and the bugs in this. So I anticipate that if you all approve this tonight, they'll be at our door soon to get their permit. They'll work with a solid waste hauler. We'll swap a dumpster out. This doesn't have to be an all or nothing thing where we turn one off and turn one on. Usually when you try to get a whole group of people to do the same thing, if you can get one to perfect the model, then for everybody else, it gets real easy. So we're going to try to perfect the model with truck and tap and then roll it out with everybody else.
Well, thank you. I'm sure there were a lot of competing interests amongst the businesses, so thank you.
Councilman Mitchell.
Thanks, Chris. I don't mean to dump this on you, but the enclosure, can you put 9 dumpsters in that area?
9 are there today. So
9 are there today.
That's
So
correct.
this was a much more economical solution than doing a compactor type.
Yes,
happened with that?
yeah.
Because
I
we
mean, so
did-
compactors, if you were to stick a compactor in the middle of the parking lot, we've got a couple of examples in Alpharetta where people have done this. Your upfront costs are just significant. So long-term, it probably pays, long-term, it probably is cost savings on a, ROI out on the horizon. But that ROI is not anywhere close enough that anybody who's a tenant of a building that is owned by somebody else wants to take that risk of that money exposure. We toyed with it. We threw it out there. And we even had plans drawn up at one point before the city was contemplating apparently putting a parking deck there. So we had an example of what a compactor would look like. I just didn't have anybody want to do it.
And also, one of the concerns with city pickup is that we don't have multiple vendors there all the time. Is there any effort being made so that one doesn't contract with a trash company in Forsyth County and one contracts with, how are we going to control, or are we going to control that?
No, we are, because we have approved waste haulers in Alpharetta. So there is a smaller list than you can't call 1-800-GOT-JUNK and have them come get it. So it doesn't necessarily have to be Republic, even though that's who we've awarded to for residential pickup. But it's got to be one of just a handful.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank
I know
you.
Put in a tremendous amount of time and effort to make this something that's positive for not just the community, but for those businesses as well. So I'm grateful for your efforts. Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment cards on this item?
We do not have any public comment cards, but I did want to share that our voting computer has restarted itself forcibly, and so we will need to vote by hand on the remaining items.
Who allowed it the authority to forcibly turn off? Okay, thank you for letting us know.
Unfortunately, thank you.
Do we have any other discussion? All those in favor, do we have a motion?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion this evening to approve resolution downtown dumpster program as presented this evening by Ms. Eswine and Mr. Lagerblum.
Have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Merkel, a second by Councilman Heitz. Any discussion? All those in favor, please vote yes with your right hand. And it's unanimous. So that'll wrap up that portion of tonight's meeting. Brings us to public comment. So, Ms. Shapiro, do we have any public comment?
I do not have any cards this evening, sir.
However, now's your chance if you'd like to come forward. I don't see anyone bounding down the aisle, so we'll close public comment. Do we have any reports this evening? Councilman Heitz?
I don't know what the future holds, but for the first time in a long time, we heard bells coming from City Hall today. And I had no less than 4 people approach me on the streets and over in Academy Park unsolicited and tell me how happy they were to hear the bells. One person specifically said they taught their grandchild to tell time by the number of ding-dongs on the bell. So I know it's a complicated technical issue to have everything in working order, but as for today, I just want to report it was a happy day for those of us who heard the bells and those of us who came up to me to tell me how happy they were. So thank you.
If I could, Mr. Mayor, can I just follow up on that real quick and just tell y'all what happened so you have so that you
You
know and that-
absolutely may follow up.
and that people know. So yes, we did have a problem with the bell at City Hall. Somebody thought that there was some decision made to just turn it off for good because it didn't make any sense any longer. That was never the case. The bell itself just it stopped ringing on any sequence, so it didn't have the top, the bottom, or the quarter hour. And one of the most important things we do with that is we turn it off every night at 11 o'clock so that it doesn't keep everybody awake downtown. And that feature went away as well. So there was no way to keep it from ringing 24 hours a day, and there was no way to guarantee that it was actually going to tell time correctly. So we toyed with the idea of shipping it off-site. As you know, it's not real bells, it's simulated bells. But we were able to troubleshoot, and we took a risk on trying the one thing they suggested that we try before they either come out here and fix it themselves or we send it to them. We did that, implemented it this morning, and knock on wood, it's functioned well today. Now, we're not going to go until 11 o'clock tonight to make sure that it decides it's going to turn off overnight. So you will hear it at 7 o'clock. You shouldn't hear it again after that tonight. We're going to do that for several nights and make sure that before we run any later into the evening. So it did it. I don't know if anybody heard it or not, but it probably did it. So now we shouldn't hear it again tonight. And that's normal. And it'll kick back on tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, and we're going to run that cycle for a couple days just to make sure that we don't have overnight issues. And if we don't, then we'll go back to the schedule that we had it ringing on before. That schedule, for anybody that wants to know, was Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. until 11 p.m., and on Saturday and Sunday, it was 9 until 6. It is now truly synced with the U.S. national clock, so it's to the second. So if you start to hear that it's dinging not as it's appropriately supposed to, it was dangerous when they gave me a key card access to it. Now I know a little bit how to manipulate it. So and so do the police. If it goes off at 2 in the morning, they know how to come turn it off. So that's the update on that, but that's why you're hearing it again today is because we finally got this solution from them and we're trying it.
Thank you for the explanation and for getting it done. We're grateful for that. Any other reports? Just have one. It's that time of year. I remember my family and I have been here almost 30 years now, and about 25 years ago, I started hearing fireworks about this time of year, and I had no idea why, because we didn't have a very diverse Hindu and Indian population back in those days. And it took me a couple of weeks to find out that that was the celebration of Diwali from some of our neighbors in Wynwood, where I lived at the time, and in that area. So I just wanted to note that this is Diwali this week. And so congratulations to all of our community that celebrates that event. And now you may understand if you happen to hear fireworks over the next couple of days. So just wanted to note that for the record. That's all the reports I have. Do we have any executive session? I'm sure you're all crushed about that. So I'll take a motion to adjourn if you'd like.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Dorito, second by Mayor Pro Tem, to adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everyone. All those, oh, that's right. There we go, it's unanimous. We're adjourned, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming. Look forward to seeing you next time.